Hello, world. Getting ready to do some live streaming. Boink. Do some live streaming. There we go. And I'm going to turn on my, or put on my shades as well. Okay. Where are we at? Well, there's definitely a bit of work to do tonight. If we look at the edit, there is a shot from quite some time ago, which I did replace the background image on. But from a storytelling standpoint, there's a few issues we have with it. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. But basically, here's what we have. This guy grabs the vase. And then it pans over, and Ninja number 2 is like, what the heck's going on? And clearly there's something going on, because Ninja number 1 is all of a sudden, ooh, uh-oh, what happened? Okay, and then if we go back to the subsequent scene, again, one that was done some time ago, we discover, actually, this is the wrong shot. What goes on from there is this, which I got some scribbles drawn over, but basically what happened was these guys turn around, and then you got this camera move where we see that Akari's behind him and stuck a knife in the back. Okay, so as I said, it's not horrible, but neither is it quite satisfactory, let's say. We decided this could be told a little bit better. So unfortunately, I needed to rewind a little bit. Again, looking at the way the story flows up to this point. And I will say this, sooner or later I'm probably going to revise this shot as well, because I don't really like the pose that I drew, again, a couple months ago. So that's what I'm working on tonight. And let's just look at what we have here. I need to sort of reacclimate. And one thing I've noticed with OpenTunes, sometimes you open a scene and it plays back kind of choppy. But lo and behold, this is a weird thing. If you turn off one level, it can pretty much be any level, and then you turn it back on, all of a sudden it plays back fine. So we'll call that a feature instead of a bug. So anyway, clearly the vase has to be resized in this little shot right here. It'll make everything work, but you can see that's the basic change that's in place so far, and then I'll kind of show where it goes from there, and that's what I'm working on tonight. So what has changed is he grabs the vase, and then there's sort of a breath of relief, and then he gets ready to set it down, and then whoop, something happened, and then I added this shot where he's getting the knife. Poke, right? And so there is where we're at. I'm not going to ink this stuff tonight. What I'm going to do is go to what comes next. So I've kind of penciled in a couple keyframes. And what I'm going for is what I call the gone fishing shot. And the gone fishing shot is, if you ever saw the movie Gone Fishing, it's kind of a cheeseball comedy with Joe Pesci and Danny Glover. And they play a couple of bumbling fishermen who, well, they're just a couple guys, middle-aged guys that want to go fishing. And the whole movie is just a series of misadventures that they just stumble from one bad situation to the next, and there's criminals after them, and there's all kinds of things going wrong. None of which are really directly their fault. They just wanted to go fishing. So it's kind of a funny concept. But anyway, this shot is the sort of thing that they had in that movie where, you know, he's just been poked, right? Poke, poke, and then you're going to see this. The two guys together turn around and look, and then we'll kind of go to close-ups and go to this shot, or this scene where he's having the interaction with the car. And then the one thing I do need to do is I need to get him standing up. He needs to rise up. So in the previous version of this, he was kind of squatted down the whole time. And so now what I got to do is do the tweens here, because I got to make this into a, you know, a smooth turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by just subdividing it a few times. So here we go. B key. Basically, and I'm going to do a lot of just jumping back and forth. I don't tend to use onion skins much. So, fortunately, the basic angle, or I should say the shape of his head, does not really change much, as you can see, between shots. So that's kind of just a lucky break for me, because that means that I can just do a real gradual turn here, and it should work pretty well. So actually I could, because that's true, I probably could just actually make a duplicate here, erase the ear, and just move its position a little bit, and then I'll build up the rest of the turn of the head around that. I would say probably 2 more tweens, I think. So might as well just get him in there first. And in this case, we can probably just go like that. So probably looks like I'm really chimping as far as the drawing goes, but I think I'll do one more. But that's only because I sort of know what I can get away with here. So we'll get the ear out of the picture since we're going to this shot. So, alright, so now I want to look at the arc of his headband here. So here it's down here. I'm kind of guessing. Okay, that's not too bad. Remember, that's the top of it. So, let me see. So it comes up a little bit. Okay. Okay, not too shabby. I'm not going to worry about the other guy yet. I'm just going to work on one at a time. Rose Stone. Hey, Rose. How are things going in Jamaica? Yeah, whenever I'm getting a lot of screen time, it's just keeps my eyes from getting irritated by the screen. They're pretty good sunglasses. So yeah, I'm not really trying to be cool or anything. Not that I'm not cool. I mean, right? Let's see. And I actually have another drawing here, so should I do another one? Well, it is supposed to be a slow turn, I'll tell you that. So let's go ahead and hit the D key. And since the arc is coming up, I'm going to just look there. So yeah, for this particular tween, I'm just going to give it a slight curve and raise it up just a little bit. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So probably it's going to be about on this one that we're starting to see. Thanks. Yes, I am cool. Well, now, I didn't need you to tell me that. I knew I was cool. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so here's his ponytail. And so let's go ahead and deal with this arc, actually. And again, I am totally ballparking this. I'm just gonna wing it. And yeah, I mean, that's okay. Right? So, you know, what you're thinking about here clearly is the volume of the head, so that you can sort of figure out where the lines are that would tell you where his eyes are. And again, I would say, okay, his eyes are pretty close to the band, so I should get the bottom of the band first. Okay, there's the bottom of the band there. So let's just get that so that the basic size of it is about right. Okay. Okay, so where would the center line be? So again, I'm always building out by working from the known to the unknown. So this line doesn't belong in the drawing, but as a guide, it's kind of useful because it's going to move horizontally, obviously. And actually, let's do this. Let's grab it like this and cut and paste it, specifically so that it's always going to be the same size, and that should serve as a guide. So that means this has to go kind of like that, and I'm going to hit Control C again, and I'm going to hit Control V. So each time I'm going from the one before to sort of map in where the next one should go. And okay, I kind of blew it, but that's okay. Clearly that's going to have to move a little more rapidly. So that means this shot's wrong. Something more like that. Okay, so let's just toggle through them. Okay, that's not bad. Actually, it's kind of good in a way because it's almost like it's easing out. Like at the end there, it's kind of easing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to work in reverse. If I want to be smart about it, that would be the thing to do. Because there's a lot more markings on his face from this point of view, obviously. And so now I've just made my job a lot easier by putting in guidelines. Okay, right? Not bad. I think that should work okay. Okay, so then, again, let's just stick with what I said and let's work backwards. If you're going to work backwards, okay. Okay, so now we got this, which just mainly has to sort of echo the shape of the other side. So, there we go. Okay, so now let's get this. What do we got here? We got that distance, about like that, about like that. So, you know, I'd love it if I was, I don't know, Glenn Keane or one of the great animators who knows his characters so well he just can draw them perfectly, consistently, every time. I can't. So, I mean, I probably could, but why not use the tools that are available to make my job easier? And for me, that means anywhere that I've got a specifically measured line that I know needs to get from here to there, once those measured lines are where they are supposed to be, it's a pretty safe bet that everything's going to wind up where it's supposed to be. So now I'm going to cheat completely by going like this. I'm just going to do more of the same. So Control V, And I'm going to give it just a little bit of a curve here. Now I want to check something. See, this is where the measuring thing is useful. Like what I'm looking at now is, wait a second, where was this? Where was the eye relative to this line right here? And it looks like I got it about right because it's kind of in the middle. Okay, so great. So if people are watching because they are sort of into the nuts and bolts of basic, simple animation, then probably what I'm doing tonight will be more interesting than usual, just because when this is done, I'll have a nice, smooth, traditional animation of the guy's head turning, you know. So now I want to just begin to compress it just a little bit. I'm going to grab the control key so I can do a little bit of a stretch here. I want to reshape it just a little bit. Okay. And then again, control V. Okay, this is where it's going to fall apart. This is actually where if you were going to put another tween in, this is probably where you'd want to do it. I'm not going to be able to do this. This one's going to have to be done the hard way. Okay, so I keep hitting the wrong button. I keep going back instead of forth, or forth instead of back. Okay, not totally sold on the ear position. Probably this ear's kind of wrong, so I'm gonna go ahead and make an adjustment there, which probably means I'm gonna have to adjust a couple other ones. That's okay. Okay, yeah, right there, definitely wrong. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So yeah, you could argue that between this shot and this shot, there maybe should be another tween, actually. Not gonna sweat it too much at the moment. Okay, let's get this line here. This line here. What's that line gonna do? Well, I'm gonna keep cheating. I'm gonna grab this and get it right here. Ah, shoot. Well, okay. I could probably live with that, but I think I want to get a little bit of a curve on it. Okay, Control C, Control V, Control V. And actually, I don't know, I think I actually need to leave the angle on that kind of the way it was. Yeah, I think so. This one probably needs to be stretched up a little more. Not stretched, but just the way it's angled seems a little wrong. Yeah. Okay, yeah, this tween is really iffy, but that's okay. We can always fix it if it's not quite right. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm kind of going to work his eyeball here so that when he comes around, he's already looking in the right direction. In other words, his eye will move, but his eyeball will still seem to be looking at the same thing. At least that's the goal. Boom, boom. One of the problems you have is when you're doing tweens, at least I do, is what often happens is the tweens are kind of sterile looking compared to the original, the sketch you started with. You start with a sketch where you just draw what you feel, right? And then the tweens tend to have, start looking a little bit stiff by comparison. This is okay though. This one's coming out actually all right. In fact, I would almost say this one looks more spontaneous than this one, even though it really clearly isn't. Wait a second. Okay. I think here we're going to let that eye go. Okay, so here we got this. So this actually should have an arc probably more that direction. Okay, and now we're going to let a little bit of the nose happen there. Yep. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so here there's going to be a change in the ear. And we might as well get that. Okay, and so here we would see his neck line, which is going to slowly, we're just going to let it fall out of the picture. And by the way, also, when this shot's done, there's also going to be a slight camera push inward, so as they turn, so it's going to be, so what you're going to see is, let me see if I can get this on the webcam. What you're going to see is, okay, so they're going to turn like this, and it's going to be like this. Right? You've seen that in movies, probably. I want this a little further this way. He's got a little hair thingy, which I don't really know what you call one of those, but I think it's kind of like something that samurais have. I guess. Yeah, and I actually like the way his expression seems to intensify a little bit. So I think I'll take that a little further so that there's actually a... Yeah, in fact, I think to even take that even further, I think what I should do is maybe make his eyes slightly more open here so that as he comes around, there's a... Okay, so I think I got the pupils pretty much right. I don't think it's like awesome, but not bad. Okay. Okay, and this is where my lack of experience may show through, because what happens is things like this thing, have a tendency to like grow and change shape. You know, that's kind of what you don't want. So we've got basically an egregious frame right here because it appears that it changed shape a little bit, which is obviously not really acceptable. Maybe just a hint of the ear there. Okay, I think we're better now. And to a degree that'll be hidden by the fact that that line doesn't actually exist in the in this headband he wears. So, cool. Basically, I think what Ninja 1 is doing is not too bad. Okay, so there's one thing I'm not so sure about here. Okay, right here. Boom. So that really doesn't quite work there. And I kind of feel like maybe the center point is in the wrong place. Should really be more like there. So we can have a little bit of that going on. Okay. So is this working? His eye seems to be stretching right there because I specifically stretched it, but actually I kind of regret that decision, and I'm thinking that eye really needs to be bigger. Yeah, that's definitely smoother. Okay, let's do like the old animators did and roll our frames. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Losing me a little bit right there. Okay. So let me just toggle between these two. Yeah, because I'm losing the edge of his eye. Okay, and okay, I think that's okay. So let's try to work with this guy a little bit. So Ninja number 2 has a headband too, and of course he's got the Naruto hair, which is going to be really fun to work with here in a head turn, because I mean we're talking about a hairdo that's basically drawn two-dimensionally all the time. You know, there's never really a good sense of the three-dimensionality of it. So now I have to try to fake that with a head turn. Yikes. Okay, how can we do it? Well, I'm gonna say this is gonna have to. What's bizarre about it is that the hair looks almost the same between the two shots, but actually every single one of these points has to evolve its way around his head. So that's going to be super fun. Okay, let's check this one out. Okay, basically this doesn't seem to move much, so I'm going to trust that I can get away with letting it not move much. Okay, that kind of works. I'm not drawing the whole thing. I just want to get some markings in there so I can sort of feel where it's supposed to be. Okay, that works. I think I'll do the hair last because it's going to be the hardest to get right. Definitely. So let's just take his ear and say it's an oval. Oops, I'm going the wrong direction. So let's just say that there's an oval encircling his ear, right? Okay, and theoretically his ear would be here, maybe here, maybe, okay, here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, and not too bad. Didn't quite nail it right on this one. So it maybe should come up just a little higher. But yeah, I mean, basically, that's not a bad guide. It looks like his ear grew there. We can't have things growing. That's kind of a no-no. So as you can see, by simply using an oval and then erasing the part of it that doesn't belong, that seems to do the trick. So what do we got here? Cheekbone, right? Okay, so that cheekbone is actually going to be here, so you're going to get a little bit of a hint of a nose here, and more here, and it would be here, although that will probably get erased. And actually that came out about right. Good deal. Okay, so now let's go do 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 do. And now we're going to let it arc in the opposite direction, see? Okay. Yeah, that one actually came out almost better than the first one. Okay, see ya, Rose. So that's good. Okay, so this, I'm going to deal with these hair spikes one at a time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this by saying, hey, this would go to here. Gone. Okay, so if that was there, there, okay, let's do this one that way. And then we're going to have to deal with the ones that are on the opposite side. So dot, dot, dot. Yeah, that probably works. Okay, I can live with that. Okay, we've got a dot here that we can't really see, but what would it do? It would go like that. Okay, so now let's see how wide it is. It's right there, there, there. Okay, so I've never tried this before, but I'm just gonna do the opposite now. I'm gonna take this and say, well, where would this go? This would go up a little bit here. Up, over, over. Okay, so let's take this and turn that into this, and then this. That maybe should come out a little bit more. Okay, not horrible, not horrible. Okay, can't believe I'm actually getting this to look kind of sort of okay. This is a royal, well, okay, it's not really a pain, but it is a challenge to figure out how this would go three-dimensionally. And it seems to me, okay, let's go back here, because what you're really doing here is you're dealing with planes. Okay, this is not tall enough. Okay. All right. So I think what we want to do is say, we want to imagine that there's something here. And that something pretty much wants to disappear right about there. So I'm going to actually fake this now and see if it's going to be possible to sort of fake it and make it work. I think it is. I don't know if I ever finished my sentence. You're basically, I mean, you're talking about flat planes of material that are moving around in 3D space, and so you've got to imagine a layer of those spikes that you never actually see because it's always covered by the whatever's in front, right? So that's kind of what makes it challenging. One thing I will say though is that this spike really wants to be near his headband. Headband, 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 and then kind of like that. Okay. Okay, it's not bad. I mean, it's really not bad at all. Okay, so big round eyes. Big round eyes. Okay, now I'm going to toggle between these like a lot. Okay, pupil, pupil. Okay. See how the pupil's still looking in the same direction even though the head's turning? That's important. Okay. There. Okay. Now his eyes gotta... This is the tricky pose. That's looking alright though. The only problem is his ear's in the wrong place. But these are the sorts of things you sort of don't really figure out until you get there. Okay. So I want his eye looking back like that. And here, again, the ear is really not positioned properly. That's okay. We'll just move it. Okay, so I think, yeah. So what I want here is, nope, Control Z. In fact, I'm going to erase that and redraw that. Okay. Boom. Boom. Okay, so since we have this sort of expression thing going on, I'm going to go ahead and go from this to this to this. Cool. Looks pretty good. Okay, so this is what I call the gone fishing shot. All right, let's let's roll our frame. Actually, I guess I should probably tighten up the overall contour here of his face before I get too eager to see it all move. Otherwise, I'll regret it later because I'll get to the inking stage and realize that I don't actually know where things are supposed to be, and I got a little lazy during the pencil test, and that's bitten me in the butt more than once. Okay, so now okay. Right there, I wonder about. I feel like maybe we could fake it a bit by adding another spike right there. Okay. It's not too bad actually. Again, this is the gone fishing shot. Whoa. Okay, so cool. Shall we reframe it? Well, this is going to be a slow. It's going to be a slow turn, so I'm going to reframe it on 4s and hope for the best. Okay. I have no idea. I should know in my head and have written down how the timing is going to work. Okay. That's not bad. And let's say they're going to hold their pose for 1 second. 24 frames. Okay. Okay. I can live with that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to hit the animate tool and we're going to scale it. So that we get this, and I think we're probably pretty close to being inkable. Okay, sorry. One problem is that, okay, this is a rare instance where this needs to be tweened on 2s. So therefore, I need to go into column 10. And there's the scale. So between here and frame 2. Is that right? Yeah, column 10. So we want between frames. We're facing an OpenTunes bug here, as far as I'm concerned, in that because the spreadsheets in OpenTunes do not scroll in sync. So here I'm on frame 25, but here I'm on frame 247. And when I scroll down to frame 247 here, this is still scrolling, which is obviously dumber than a box of rocks. You would never want that behavior in any software. Obviously, you want them to be synchronized. But nope. And even if you scroll up here, they're not synchronized. So, I mean, you know, it's just... it's dumb. It's crazy. How is that ever going to work? It's crazy. Okay. I love OpenTunes, but it does have a few quirks that are kind of impenetrable, because how do I get to... okay, maybe if I double click this, it'll open on frame 235. Let's see what happens. Nope. Yeah, it's down. Okay. So, okay, well, what I have to do is I have to look at... I'm going from frame 235 to 259. Okay, so we want column 10, right? We want column 10 from frame 235 to 259. So if we look at the scale, by the way, of column 10, And then we go down to frame 235. We're going to find a keyframe. Okay. And it jumped. OMG are the 3 letters that come to mind right now, because my function editor just jumped. I'm going to have to go to another window on the chance that by not looking at the rest of this stuff that it'll actually be manageable. That, I don't know if that makes perfect sense, but okay, so here's frame 235. Okay, I'm a little confused here because what is it that we animated? We animated the global scale, I thought. Didn't we? Hokey smoke, as Rocky the Flying Squirrel used to say. Let's just double check here. Okay, this is really interesting. It's very interesting that this is column 10, but then here it says column 9. So, oh, I need to transition back. Okay, so this is column 10, but its label is column 9, which is a little weird. Okay. So let me see. I'm looking at the function editor to see if it changes. Yeah, the function editor does not change what column is selected in it when you change what's selected here. So that makes it even more difficult. Okay. Well, this is the problem with keyframe interpolation in OpenTunes. Is once OpenTunes does any keyframe interpolation, the spacing of that interpolation, which is right now set to a really high number so that it looks like constant interpolation, that interpolation cannot be changed unless you literally delete all of the animation data for that column, which is a little problematic. Theoretically, you can fix it by just selecting between keys here. And actually, I think what I want, by the way, is this. Let me see if there's any animation data there. Yeah, there it is. That's what it is. It's not horizontal scale, it's just scale. Now, hopefully when I click this, it's not going to jump. Ah, it didn't jump. Okay, that's good. So that means I can select that range. And now you see the step is 222. I want to change this to step 2. Okay, now that's good. Now, when we do our camera move, the animation of the pictures is going to be changing on 4s, but the animation of the camera is going to be on 2s. So it should give us a relatively smooth looking camera move, right? Yeah. The only criticism I would give is I think it's too much of a camera move. So I'm going to go here and scale this in a little bit more, which unfortunately means I've got to go back to my spreadsheet, my function editor I should say, and redo the interpolation again. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true. That range is already set to interpolate on 2s, so maybe nothing will change here. Let's see. Yeah, nothing changed, so that's good. Once that range is set to interpolate on 2s, any changes continue to interpolate on 2s. So, excuse me. So that's good. So that's a little more subtle camera move. But that basically looks pretty good, right? I can go ahead and ink that sucker up and we'll be in good shape. So, and I think with that, it's been almost an hour. I think I've accomplished enough. And so with that, I'm going to stop the live stream, and I'm sure I'll be back probably tomorrow with either some video post or else some more live streaming. All right, nighty night.